You got snake mites living rent-free in your enclosures and you don't know how to evict them. That's alright, it happened to me, so in this video I'll be walking you through all the steps to make sure you can eradicate them from your enclosures, and by the end of the video you'll know exactly how to prevent them from any future infestations.
I'm from Buenos Aires, and I say kill them all! Yeah!
First off, I want to talk to you about the different types of products that I've used and other people in the reptile community have used to prevent and eradicate the mites. First on the list is reptile spray. Now this is one of the most common ones, and you can find it at most major pet stores or in most reptile stores around your area. You can buy it in a spray bottle or in a bottle that you can use to pour onto a cloth. Now, I love pouring it onto a cloth and actually putting the cloth on my reptile because I don't want, when I'm spraying it, for my reptiles to ingest or inhale any of these chemicals. And that goes for the rest of the products on this list. You use reptile spray in 3-day intervals, so if you used it on your animal on Monday, you want to wait till Thursday to use it again. The reason behind this is because these chemicals can be harsh and they do dry out the skin on your reptile, so they can be pretty harmful if you don't use them in the correct way. And it's because of this that you don't want to use them on any reptiles who have just shed. If your reptile just shed, you want to wait 24 hours after that shed to use the chemicals on your reptile. You can use the reptile spray to clean the enclosures and make sure you get into all the nooks and crannies, because the mites can lay eggs, and if they lay eggs and you don't realize it, they might show back up again. And of course, don't use this on amphibians. You're just going to end up unaliving them, so don't even think about it. The next product on this list is called Nix. The way that you dilute it is you get about a half gallon of distilled water and you get 1 bottle of Nix, or 59 milliliters, and you just mix it up and that's ready to use. Again, I would suggest putting it on a cloth and wiping your reptile, and then also get it on a paper towel and cleaning the enclosure. Now with Nix, you want to make sure that if you clean your enclosure that you just wipe a wet cloth of just the distilled water over the enclosure and make sure that you get any excess chemicals off, because Nix is not really a reptile product, it's actually for humans. But just to ensure your reptile will be safe, wipe off any excess with a wet, damp cloth. The next product on your list is probably sitting on your kitchen counter right now. It's Dawn dish soap, and they've been known to take care of animals in the past, so why not trust them with the snakes that we have as well? I've seen plenty of people in the reptile community use this method to take care of mites immediately from their snakes. The way that you use Dawn dish soap to get rid of mites is you get a container that'll house your snake or your reptile properly for it to be able to soak, but of course not drown. You want to put a rock in there or something that they can grab onto, but then you add in some dish soap. Now you don't want to go too much, but I'd say about 7 to 10 drops per bottle of water is a good amount. This will suffocate the mites and allow them to slip off of your animal very easily. And last on the list is Frontline Spray. Frontline Spray is one of my favorites, but the reason why it's last on the list is because I don't think it's being sold on the market anymore to the public. The last time I tried looking it up, I couldn't really find it, but it is my favorite product to use. I have a spray bottle and I use it to clean enclosures, and I also use it on reptiles that I need to treat. I think it's the best product ever. In my opinion, this works a lot better than the reptile spray, but again, it's not readily available, so just check your local area, see if you can buy it. Next, I want to give you a couple tips to know how to prevent any future infestation, because it's horrible when you get your reptiles completely treated, you don't see any more mites, and then a week later, there's even more than there was the first time. So let's get through the process on how to prevent them. Step 1 is to make sure that after you've treated your reptiles, you go ahead and clean the enclosures, and maybe even treat your reptiles a little bit more, about every 2 weeks or every month, whatever you're comfortable with. But I do this to make sure that there's a continual treatment to kill these mites completely. Throw out substrate. Even if you had an open bag of substrate next to the enclosure, I would throw that out too. Just put paper towels. The paper towels will help create a more dry environment where the mites won't be able to survive. and any mites that are still on your reptiles or in the enclosure will be very easily seen on that white paper towel. I did this to my reptiles for 4 months before I switched them back onto regular substrate and stopped being so worried about there being any mites on them. Another thing is to make sure that you check your reptiles in order from healthy to sick. You don't want to check a sick animal or an infested animal and then go to your healthy animal, because you're just going to keep repeating the process of infesting your enclosures and your reptiles. And lastly, make sure you quarantine every new animal you get. If you went out to a reptile expo or you went out to look at some reptiles at a store, you always want to make sure you don't directly go to your reptiles. You want to make sure that you quarantine yourself and you quarantine any new reptiles that you get. Most people recommend 2 weeks, but I actually recommend about a month, maybe even a month and a half. This is just to be 100% sure that you're not going to infect or infest your reptiles with any newcomers that might be on another reptile. Now, I say that with experience because I bought a reptile online and it happened to me. And there you have it, guys. If you found any value or if any of these tips were helpful to you, I ask that you do subscribe and hit that like button because it helps me out. Fun fact, this is a redneck keelback snake, and it is both poisonous and venomous. It gets its poison from the toads that it eats and stores them in nuchal glands by the neck.